Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. So today, as requested, because I did ask in the last video if you wanted to see the Corvettes or the fighters more, we are going to jump into the fighters. I am missing a couple, but I have finally started opening up boxes in this server because I finally got to, the timer to potentially get something from the boxes. Because, I am sat in a position now where it's like, I kind of needed, Mistral and stuff like that, which means I have to wait for the Black Market Tech File boxes to be 2.0 to even, warrant a chance of getting them. So hopefully by the time that I've gone through all the fighters, I might have picked it up by then. If not, I'll work something out. So, without further ado, we'll jump in and we'll have a look at fighters. By the way, this is a new audio setup. My Windows, after that last video I did last week, I had loads of issues with blue screens of death and all sorts, and it was Windows basically just being an absolute tard. So, I ended up having to completely reinstall Windows and do all that stuff to get everything back to ship-shape performance, and I decided I'd move my audio setup around a little bit now as well. So hopefully you can hear me and it sounds good still. If not, I will probably have to re-record this and you won't see it anyway. So we'll start off, we'll go with the Stingray, I guess, because that was the top. Are these random? I swear they're random every time I log in. So we'll start off with the Stingray. I'll try and get as many of these out as I can each week, albeit work's a bit busy at the moment, so I can only do so much. So the Stingray it's an interesting ship. So pre-patch, and I'm talking like a while ago, this was really, really good, and it did loads of damage, and it was fantastic. And then they added system damage stuff into it, and it's kind of gone downhill a little bit from there. However, if you are trying to fill in, your large fighter slots, it is better than the Bulldog. It's not as good as the Vetus B. And then you're kind of limited on choices anyway within the fighter bomber role, especially the bomber role. But within the fighter bomber role, Spores are good, Stingray's good, the Vetus is good, the Bullfrog's terrible, the Strix is good. Balances are terrible. SC002s are terrible. The Damphyre is now terrible. The Vetus A's ain't brilliant. The Newlands ain't brilliant. Sandrakes are pretty good. So you're kind of in a position where if you are trying to field as many, aircraft as you possibly can, the Stingray's in an okay position in that instance. So we'll jump into it and we'll talk a bit about it. What I recommend upgrading on it. It's not too important on this, but it is a useful ship that you can use to fill up those large slots that you may still have left over. When you've got carriers that can carry 16 aircraft, 11 aircraft, sometimes you are just filling them, and I feel the Stingray is a bit in that sort of filler sort of role. So with that being said, it's got reasonable damage. However, you got to bear in mind that it is got this attack systems where it is attacking propulsion systems. This is its kind of redeeming feature. If you can knock out the propulsion system on the enemy that you're attacking, you blow the ship up. It doesn't, potentially retreat back to base or anything like that. So it is actually, one of the more useful sides of running the Stingrays in your fleet is you are causing losses and then heavy losses because they're not going to go back and repair. They're going to get blown up and they're going to have to rebuild them, which means they spend resources. So it's not like it's a terrible filler slot. It's a useful filler slot. So with that being said, it's got the propulsion system damage. Fantastic. This thing can just mess up, carriers and stuff like that. Until relatively recently, you could kill people's miners off permanently with them, which was hilarious, although a bit broken. They have added a way of sort of getting around that. There's a secondary backup engine on miners now, so the chances of it getting blown up is pretty low, but, just bear that in mind, that you can still potentially lose miners. It's also got a very good strategy. So, triggers camouflage, increase evasion by 90% and increases hit rate by 30% every 90 seconds for 30 seconds. Very similar to the Special Carillion. However, because fighters are far more accurate you know, having this amount of evasion is actually really good. I don't actually recommend going into the armor system first, just due to the fact that it's only ship HP. You've only got 4,000. It doesn't really add too much ship HP, and the things that are going to be blowing this up are going to be blowing it up very bloody fast because they do quite a lot of damage very quickly. So the extra HP doesn't matter so much here. You can go into the propulsion first and pick up the additional evasion here. That will help. Target selection time. And I'm going to talk to you a bit about the concept of like having a high target selection time versus a bad target selection time. And in the case of the Stingray, you want to get this target selection time down as low as possible, which means that the fighters and stuff are going to be attacking it first because it's going to be, you know, out and about quicker, or it sort of works like that from, you know, when we pull data off the servers, that the lower the target selection time, they end up getting targeted first for, I'm not entirely sure exactly what the reason is, but that's just how the game mechanics are currently working. So getting this really, really low is actually useful here. Because obviously, you know, you've got your extra ship evasion, you can have your target selection time reduction on the propulsion system here as well. And then you're going to boost the evasion again with the stealth attacks. And it actually makes it reasonably survivable in a battle where it's getting shot at by other fighters. Whereas, say, your T-800s, you might want to keep those back and keep the target selection time higher on them so they come out later, and then they can target, you know, the fighters, the bombers, the Mistrals, the T-800s. And, you know, specifically go for them while their aircraft are dealing with your, you know, relatively tanky Stingrays because they've got ridiculous amounts of evasion. So, my recommendation, propulsion system first. Grab yourself ship evasion, grab yourself one of the target selection time. Make sure it's on a ship that's got a reasonable amount of target time reduction as well. And that's just going to, you know, amplify all of your stuff. Picking up your stealth attack first is my recommendation here. It's a costly pickup at 14 tech points, but at the end of the day, if it keeps it alive longer, it's going to keep its damage output potentially higher, getting you that system damage and those propulsion knockouts, and it's going to just, you know, keep it alive and keep enemy fighters off of your fighters. So, after you pick up your stealth attacks, my recommendation is picking up the hit rates. It does help a little bit here. It's not massively different, though. I also recommend picking up the cooldowns. You can ignore siege damage, and you can ignore the chance of all torpedoes being intercepted. After you've picked up the cooldowns, you're going to be picking up the torp damage. That's giving you your 6 slots. So you've only got, I think, 1 left here. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 1 left. So your last pick is either going to be, it's almost certainly going to be the sympathetic detonation. System has a chance to cause 10% crit. It hasn't got crit listed. However, I have noticed a damage increase when I have picked this up when crit's not listed on the weapon system. So it may be either there is a base chance of all ships being able to crit and it's just not, we don't know about it, or it's adding a crit modifier to the ship, because this is a chance to cause 10% crit damage, so it increases the chance and the damage by 10%. Now, it could be just that I've had really odd battle reports where when I've picked this, I've had slightly increased damage, and it doesn't work. If that is the case, at that point, you're either picking up one of the siege damages or, you know, reduce the chance to intercept. People are running some intercept on ships, so this is relatively useful, but it is still not quite that meta to see ships that are you're running intercept on torpedoes and missile systems. So you can relatively, you know, sort of ignore it a little bit and just go straight into the siege damage just to get a bit more damage out if you're attacking bases and that kind of thing. If the crit is not working, I might ask Null Pointer to do another report on crit on ships that don't have the crit sort of perk, as it were. Just to double check that, and then I'll get back to you on it. So yeah, after that, you are left with the armor system. So in this case, the energy resistance, it's useful, but it's not amazing at the end of the day. You could pick up that and pick up one of the ship HPs. You only have 3 slots, or you could go triple HP. So, you know, it's kind of up to you on this one. If you feel that the energy resistance, considering, you know, T800's energy damage, I think Mistral is projectile. So that's not going to really matter too much there either. So yeah, picking up energy resistances, it's completely valid argument here. 10% damage reduction may help you out a little bit. If not, you know, go for triple HP. It's not much HP extra, but everything, you know, helps a little bit. That's the only reason why I'm not going to recommend HP like earlier on this. It's just the increase I don't feel is enough. Over, you know, outweighing the damage increases. Plus, you're already getting evasion on the Stingray anyway, so you know that's going to help out a little bit more in the long run, in my opinion. So that is the Stingray. It is a cool ship. It looks fantastic when you max this out. I unfortunately can't max it out. I've only got 58 points in it. But yeah, it's definitely one of the coolest looking ships in the game, sort of maxed out. There was a recent Star Citizen ship. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like an Ion or something like that. And it kind of reminds me of the Stingray. So, there you go. Have a good one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.